had just graduated from Mount Sinai Hospital School of Nursing. I came home for 1 week and I was to return to New York to this lovely apartment to study for the state boards. And then I was going to take the state boards. And what I was going to do after that, I hadn't planned. But that was, part of the education thing. Anyway, I came home and there was Cynthia Savette was one of my dearest friends. And she invited me to come to breakfast. She said, I know that you're busy and I'm busy, but let's have breakfast together. So I went to breakfast with her, and she was delightful. And she, knew I was home. And she was very little. I never saw Poppy. I did see them together, but she was so little, and he was such a big, handsome fellow. Well, anyway, she called me that afternoon, or no, the next morning, I think. She said, you've got to do me a big favor. And I said, what? What, Cynthia? And she said, well, I've got a date with Alan Korn, and he is tall and handsome and very wonderful. And besides which, he's brilliant because he's being given an honor at this dinner of a men's club. And we're to sit at the head table, and I was supposed to be his date, and I've got the German measles. And she said, you've got to go with him in my place. So I said, well, Cynthia, and I didn't like blind. I thought, she told me he was 6'4". I thought maybe he was 5'2" or something. and so, because I was really kind of independent and very particular about who I dated. Anyway, so I said, well, you have him phone me, and then I'll decide. So Poppy called me, and he was so cute on the phone. You know how wonderful he can be. And after I talked to him on the phone, I was looking forward to meeting him. So we went to the dinner dance, and we had the most fun. I mean, Poppy was an excellent dancer.
Wait, you didn't tell the part about when he came to pick you up.
Oh, yes. Well, the only thing I had to wear was from Manhattan, and it was, very, very in. It was a strapless black dress, but it was short. It wasn't long, and I had nice legs at that time. Anyway, and I think pretty good shoulders. Well, anyway, anyhow, my mother went. The doorbell rang. Okay, and Grandma went down and answered the door. And she came back up to my bedroom, and she said, well, I don't think you should go. And I said, well, what do you mean, Mom? And she said, well, he's too big. She'd been used to my answering the door, my high school friends, and she opened the door, and she was little, and he was a great big tall fellow. Anyway, he waited in the foyer for me, and I came down to say hello. And then, I hadn't done my fingernails. I was studying for state boards. I didn't care about anything. And my mother she said, you've got to have your nails done because it's a dinner dance, Okay, so I came down to meet him, and he looked up and said hello. And I said hello. And I think that we fell in love at that moment. Really, I wasn't excited, I didn't think. And when I saw him, and he said hello to me, and I guess he cared about what I seemed to be, so we both said hello. And after that, we both said, that was when we fell in love. We fell in love, we said hello. But after that, see, I was going to be home for 2 more weeks or a week, I can't remember. And of course, after that first dance, he practically lived at our house. He would, because he knew I was going away. But the thing was that I was very proper, and it isn't like it is in 2013. I mean, first place, I don't know if other gals what they did, but you did not go to bed with anybody unless you were married to them. In my estimation. So, I mean, we had very nice, passionate times, and then, but I, I not only told him, I responded, I would not go beyond a certain point, which was probably not a very far point. Anyway, he said, you, before you go to New York, before you put your foot on that train, you've got to be Mrs. Alan Korn. And so we went to the if we went to the Justice of the Peace, we went downtown to get I don't know what you get. You get a license or something, and you register and stuff. But you're not married until you're actually married in a marriage ceremony.
License.
All right, so we're deciding we're going to get married right away, or we got the license, and then we went to the Justice of the Peace, and he looked at both of us, and I'll show you. Before we leave the apartment, there's a picture I want you to see, because it's me that day and before. Anyway, we went to the Justice of the Peace, and he said, I'm very sorry, but I can't marry you. And Alan said, why? And he said, because you have to wait 3 days after you get the license. There's a 3-day wait. Now, I don't know if it's still true, but it was then. So Alan said, well, all right. He said, we'll be back in 3 days. And it was so crazy. But anyway, we were constantly together for the rest of the time. And then on the 3rd day, we went back to the Justice of the Peace, and he married us. But 1946, we eloped. In 1946, we were married.